Hello and welcome into another edition of the Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast. My name is Kevin Hickson. I'm your lead beat writer for the Arizona State Sun Devils on SI and your host of the 5 day a week Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast. I'm so grateful to be joining you on this Thursday afternoon. Relatively uneventful week for Arizona State athletics, unlike the last 5 to 6 to even 7 weeks. Um, Arizona State did officially name the fourth and I think final assistant coach to the bench under Randy Bennett to round out his first staff in Tempe. The football program continues to make some noise in the wake of last week's NFL draft, where Jordan Tyson obviously went to the Saints, Maxi Hinichor went to the Steelers, Keith Abney went to the Lions, and Keyshawn Elliott went to the Bears. Still making some noise off of that and very anticipatory of fall camp, which is set to start taking place about 3 months from now. And uh, Arizona State women's basketball named inside of the top 25 of ESPN's Way Too Early rankings ahead of the 2026-27 season, and Arizona State baseball has done a great job of rebounding from a midseason slump. It seems like they're getting their footing back, and a Big 12 title might be within reach. And sorry for that. Let's get my mind back on this. Um, the main thing that I wanted to circle back on was Arizona State football and their place in the Big 12. This was a conversation that I had a couple of days ago, mostly pertaining to Texas Tech and the uncertain situation that they find themselves in. Quarterback Brendan Sorsby obviously seems doubtful to return to the program, which leaves an obvious gap for the Red Raiders at quarterback heading into the new season. Will Hammond is a guy with starting experience, but he has a knee injury that he's returning from, and he might not be back for week one. But outside of Texas Tech, let's talk about Arizona State in their own merit and why they still belong in the top three of the Big 12 hierarchy heading into the 2026 season. So, in my mind, I still think Arizona State's number three. I know people are going to say Houston, Utah, Arizona, maybe even a surprise school like TCU over ASU. And I suppose that's a fair assessment because some of those teams have more returning production. But I just think Arizona State is the cream of the crop in the Big 12 outside of Texas Tech and BYU. You could even argue all three are grouped together. I think Texas Tech probably has the advantage in terms of having the best trenches and being the most balanced between offense and defense. I think BYU is the most experienced. I think they have the most continuity overall. And I think Kalani Sitake is potentially ready to take that step forward from being a top three team in the Big 12. They finished second last year and third in 2024. I think is this the year that he finally gets over the top and finishes first? It's possible, especially with actual continuity at the quarterback position once again. And as for Arizona State, I just think that Arizona State has the highest ceiling roster wise. It might not be as balanced as Texas Tech from top to bottom, from 1 to 105, but they do have a very high-end talent pool on the roster. We've already talked about it at length between Omarion Miller, Reed Harris, Owen Long, even Cutter Boley, who hasn't quite locked up the starting quarterback job, but he is very promising. It's easy to see his game and his strengths translating into what Kenny Dillingham and Marcus Arroyo love to do. And outside of that, you have returning players like Martell Hughes, Rodney Bimage Jr., uh, even AJE, a redshirt freshman tight end. You have those guys that are looking to take major leaps forward with more repetitions, more trust being placed in them, all of that. Um, I think Arizona State probably has the most accomplished coaching staff in the Big 12, and I also think that they have a coaching staff that has shown incredible loyalty to the program, to Coach Dillingham, and continuity really, really matters in coaching. I think now more than ever, you've seen coaches that are able to come in and turn around a program in 1 year compared to what used to be seen in the past. I mean, even Nick Saban wasn't able to rebuild Alabama in a year like you are now, but continuity does matter a lot. Uh, Over the years, really the only coaches that Arizona State has lost due to finding other jobs were Rashad Samples, who left to be Oregon's wide receivers coach, and he's honestly the only coach that's left on their own accord. Marcus Arroyo's entering his third season, Brian Ward's entering his fourth season, Hines Ward, Samples' replacement, is entering his third season as wide receivers coach. Sean Aguano is in his eighth season with Arizona State. Jason Mons is in his fourth season. You just see goes on and on and on. And Arizona State coaches are staying at a rate that is rarely ever seen in college football. Part of that is due to Kenny Dillingham selling his um, vision of the program to these coaches. Part of it is them loving the lifestyle in Arizona and being your family in Brian Ward's case. A lot of it has to do with the increased assistant salary pool that Kenny Dillingham helped get pushed through in his amended contract. That meant that they were able to promote Brian Carrington to assistant head coach and give him even more reasons to stay than he already did have to stay. That's a big reason why I think Arizona State's going to exceed expectations this season. And while they do have one of the more challenging schedules in the Big 12 that we've talked about, road games against Texas A&M, Texas Tech, Brigham Young, and Arizona, a home game against Oklahoma State, a game on the road that's considered a home game against Kansas and London. They have a very challenging schedule, all things considered, but they also are going to be more battle tested than pretty much any other team in the Big 12 heading into conference play. They're going to have an off week after the Kansas game to prepare for Baylor, Hawaii, Texas Tech, BYU, and they close out the season with challenging games. But by that point, I think if they have reasonably good health fortune, that they will head into the final weekend in contention for another appearance in the Big 12 title game, regardless of where they are in the standings, whether it's first, second, third, maybe even fourth. I think they will be up there. And I don't think that making a bowl game is going to be a question this season like it wasn't really the last two seasons. Um, I really, really like the spot that Kenny Dillingham has this program in. I think that they have proven themselves time and time again. And I think that based off of merit, Arizona State should be considered a top three team in the conference heading into the dog days of the off season, if you want to call it that. That's really all I have to say on today's edition of the Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast. Once again, thank you so much for tuning into another edition of the show. And your support means everything to me. And I will see you with another episode on Sunday. Thank you so much.